I just feel so blessed to get to see you just grow and expand and explore and get more successful. And I just feel very grateful and honored that you chose me to help you support you in your journey. Andrea, thank you so much for doing this testimonial with me. Can you share by starting with what kind of creative are you and why you decided to sign up for coaching?
So I am a graphic designer. When I started with you, I was in a place in my life where I had already quit my full-time job. So that was also kind of what attracted me to you. It was when I came across your YouTube channel, you were someone who seemed to be kind of along the same life path in terms of having quit your job, working for yourself, and really giving people essentially like the things that you were implementing and how you were finding balance in your life. For me, I was already freelancing and I was already going in that direction, but I had found myself struggling with the mentality of being like my own boss and also really exploring my creative side. I think I was spending a lot of time with client things, and I had a lot of passion projects and a lot of things that I knew that were going to benefit my career, but it was getting through that threshold that was harder for me. And so being able to have an accountability coach was really helpful for me in terms of getting things like a website up and having someone push me to really get myself to finish the projects or start the projects that for so long I told myself that I really wanted to do and I was really passionate about, but I was never finding the time.
I love the website example. How long did you spend thinking about your website and working on it kind of? Then how long after we started working together until it was live?
I was freelancing for a really long time. And in that time for years, I had been thinking about building my website because not only do I do graphic design, but I also do web design. And I actually do it for a lot of my clients. So me not having a website was an ongoing thing where I, for so long, told myself like the website is what I need in order to get started on everything else. And I think that was, looking back, there's a lot of that fear. When we started working together, in less than a month, I had my website. Even the way that we approached it, which was like, just imagine that I'm like your client and like, what are the things that you would be asking me? And then in our time together, you're just going to be building this website for yourself instead of me at the end of the day. And so in less than a month working together, I already had a website up. It was already getting traffic and people's eyes on it.
I want to say you also got like another client, like got like a logo client within the first, like things happened very fast for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Like I was for so long, like striving for perfection. I think when I was looking into how I wanted to build my own website, you kind of just get like lost in it and being like, oh, this has to be perfect. And I have to do this and have to check off all of these boxes when that's truly not the case. And so having you be like, okay, like let's set a deadline. And then, within less than a month, a couple of weeks, I had a website up and I was already sending it out to people and being able to finally have like a portfolio to lead people back to. And it's already instantly, like within weeks, led to a new client.
It's so beautiful to have that space to just kind of reflect back. So often we're just in our life day after day going through it, and we don't often just pause and think about how far we've come. So I'd love to hear more about, especially around your mindset, because that was one of the things you mentioned that you wanted to shift. How do you feel your mindset has changed over these past few months?
So I think that was definitely the biggest change. When we started working together, you kind of asked, what are some of your long-term goals, some of your shorter-term goals? For my mindset goals, I had a lot of year-long like mindset goals. And a lot of the thing that I wanted to change was my mentality around my work-life balance. I was in a place where I was having a difficult time finding that work-life balance. When I left my corporate job, instead of finding that like work balance, I think I got more thrown into my job. And I think the biggest thing around my mindset was like my limiting beliefs that I knew that I had. Things like creating my website, launching my website, starting to put more of my work out there, even working with brands and stuff. I found it really difficult to just showcase my own style or just showcase my own art. Having a lot of our practice be just like around my like mentality and my beliefs. It's so funny because I expected it to help me career-wise, but I didn't really even think of like how much it would do for me personally. And that's in fact where I've had like the biggest growth and change. Like, of course, I love doing more of these like tactical things, but I find that so many of my goals and so many of the things I was afraid of was just really, truly just based around my mindset. And then being able to work with you like on those like limiting beliefs and having someone like call them out to me or recognizing like certain language that I'm using that even like wasn't even recognizing in myself. But then I would say the biggest one is implementing implementing meditation, which I've, heard it said time and time again, like meditation can open up so many doors. And I was someone who was constantly dealing with anxiety. And I think especially a lot of work-related anxiety, being able to put meditation into practice through a lot of the resources that you gave me when we first started working together, I think that was like the biggest shift that I've seen in my mindset was meditating, implementing that into my life, and then being able to, really use journal prompts and things like that to keep pushing my trajectory forward.
It was so beautiful because I think in our very first conversation, you kind of mentioned like, meditation and that woo-woo stuff. And if you're watching this video, y'all know where I am spiritually. Like I'm all the way in on the woo-woo. So I was like, let's just start our little 5 minutes. Let's just like see what happens. And it was so cool because you truly, once you saw for yourself, like, oh, it just creates more space in your life. You did your own research, you found your own meditations, you found your own things that work for you. I feel like it also really supported our coaching because I was sort of sharing these things and I could tell they were landing in you because you had this space to hear it and to implement it in your own life. And I know for me, my favorite win, the website is incredible, the logos are incredible, the clients, all of that. My favorite win for you was when you took a vacation. So do you want to share a little bit about how you used to approach taking time off and what you found now?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, taking time off it's insane to explain how scary it was to take time off. I recently just took a vacation and it was the first vacation that I took, I would say in 4 years where I didn't work throughout my vacation. Being someone who freelances and has that like more of that flexibility around my schedule, I was still having a very difficult time being able to fully step away from my work. I always had my laptop with me, always on my phone, like constantly checking notifications. For me, unplugging created this huge sense of anxiety. For so long, I used to cope by just overworking myself and thinking like, as long as I stay up on top of everything that I have to, then it'll be okay, right? So for me, things like vacations, though they are great, they were also very like nerve-wracking and nerve-inducing. Being able to take a vacation for the first time and truly unplug and being able to use like all of the resources that I've learned and like bringing in meditation and being like, I earned this trip, like I worked so hard, and to be able to recognize that I also need that balance where I need to recharge and reset. It also really helped with my work because being able to come back feeling recharged and like actually being away from my work and setting expectations, that was like the biggest thing for me. Even though I have my own clients, I was finding it really difficult to switch from corporate, like working for someone else mentality, when I think that was like one of the biggest things that I recognized during like our time working together was just how much I still felt not fully in control of my schedule, even though the whole time I was, fully in control. So in working together and being able to take this vacation, I was really able to put a lot of the things into practice. And, on the times where I was getting anxious, being able to take a moment to meditate, to know that like nothing is going to change. A lot of like the things that we worked on together was also like easing into my morning, which I used to be someone who I would wake up and instantly like make a quick breakfast and jump right into work, which in the little time that we've been working together, just now looking where I was a few months ago and just seeing like how not sustainable living that way is and what it was doing for, like my nervous system and everything. It's just so insane how something like a vacation was in itself a challenge, having to put into practice a lot of the things that I've been working on and being like, hey, I'm not going to be available. I'm not going to be checking my emails, and then really sticking to that and like not letting it take over my entire vacation. So yeah, it was like the first time I really got to put it into practice.
What I realized about myself is that I use the term creative coaching, which is kind of broad, and it's because we create the entirety of our life. We create the work we do, we create our relationships, we create our community. All of it is, I do believe, up to us to create and have it fit the life we want. And so if we think about these sort of key things that underlie the way we approach creating, it will naturally infuse itself in all these other areas and make all of it better. So to me, it's not about like, I'm a creative coach who's going to help you create more. It's like, no, like, is the entire life good? Does it all work together? Does it all support you? It's such a blessing to feel so good and excited about your work and about your vacation and about your meditation, whatever it is, just to feel good about it and to know that you deserve to have that kind of goodness and balance in your life. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to take what I've learned from leaving my job, but also the coaching I did in that job and what I'm doing on YouTube and all these different things and make it work and support people. And I know you decided, which I'm very grateful for, to continue our coaching after the 2-month period. For folks who are curious about coaching, sort of what makes them a good fit, like where should they be in their spirit to be ready for coaching, and what will set them up for success, what will allow them to have a good experience with me so that if they want to, they could keep working together.
The reason that I decided to continue our coaching is one, it was such a great, amazing experience to begin with. And then when we were coming to like the end of our time together, I was like, wow, like I accomplished so much in the little time that we had been working together. And what I loved about your coaching was just how like personalized and tailored it was. I also have experiences with coaches in the past simply because I've, worked with coaches to some degree. I already kind of, knew that I had like such a great experience that I was like, I definitely like wanted to continue. And one of like the biggest thing that I loved about like working together is not just, our specific coaching calls, but our accountability calls that we do like throughout the week. And I know it's like very tailored to, your clients. But for me, like that was one of the best investments like in your program is being able to have like those accountability hours and then just being able to like hop on throughout the week and be like, hey, like these are my goals for the week and like this is what I really want to accomplish, and then being able to like at the end of the week like regroup and being like, hey, like, and so to kind of keep that consistency going. And I know for myself it's like there's still a lot that I'm doing, and being able to keep you as a resource for me was very important. So that is why I decided to continue with the coaching. Because I'm like, if I accomplish so much in like the 2 months, I was like, where is, 4 months going to take me? So for me, it was a no-brainer. In terms of the ideal person for you is, I just think, especially anybody from like my personal experience, someone who just left, their corporate job or is looking to leave their corporate job, or just in general, someone who has like a creative passion that they haven't explored or they want to explore. I know that it can be sometimes really scary. And then I think when we don't have someone that can support us in that way, obviously we have friends and family and they're a great support system, but I think in different ways, right? And so being able to have a coach that keeps me accountable like throughout the week, even if it's just like a check-in, even if it's just like, hey, like this is what we're all working on today, for me was really impactful. And I think anybody that could use that accountability, anybody that already kind of has an idea of what their creative passion is, I think could really benefit from working with you, because you're kind of like that kick that people need. I think for a lot of us, it's like you mentioned, like we know what we're passionate about, we know what we're good at. Sometimes it really is about having us, like someone keep us accountable and helping us make that time for ourselves. Because I think that was like the biggest thing in working with you and having you start creating that time for me. It was easier for me to then start creating that time for myself and that space for myself.
I just feel so blessed to get to see you just grow and expand and explore and get more successful. And I just feel very grateful and honored that you chose me to help you support you in your journey. Thank you so much, Andrea. I'm going to talk to you literally in moments because we have a coaching call right after this. But I appreciate you taking the time. Any final words for the people?
If you are even have like an inkling that this is something that could be for you, just go for it. Set up that call. Like I said, for me, it was instantly like the minute that we had our just first like initial call, even before we officially started working together, like I knew that you were a great match. And, I think seeing you through like your YouTube channel, I kind of like already knew that you were the vibe that I was looking for. But then setting up that like 30-minute consult call was, what really sealed the deal for me. So I think there's nothing to lose. Like if anybody is looking for that extra support, definitely do it.